Hi everyone, I'm Stacy, the 911 Stitcher. Welcome to my channel about cross stitching. Today is September 10th, Thursday. This is video 44. This cross stitch video is a little bit different than my normal floss tubes because this one is a stitch with me. I'm working on a project that is by the Primitive Hair. It's called The White Witch. If you've joined me at all for Zoom meetups in my Facebook group, Stitching 911, we do a lot of Zoom group chats and stitching. We stitch together, and everybody knows I've been working on this witch for so long, and I finally outlined the whole bottom of her dress, and now I need to fill it in. This is the chart, and if you've noticed, this dress is enormous. It is... I have been working on it for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it's so much bigger than I even realized. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. I need to fill in the dress. It's one color, and I thought, you know, I've been wanting to do a stitch with me. There are so many of us that don't have anyone to stitch with. And especially with the quarantine going on, none of us can go to retreats. We can't really get together unless it's outdoors or you're spaced apart, of course. There's just not a lot of opportunity for some of us to have a stitching buddy or a stitching friend to join us and to chat with. And so I decided when I do my videos, I always tell you guys, I hope you feel like you're stitching with a friend. And I hope you feel this way again, because now I'm going to stitch myself and I'm going to fill in this dress while I talk to you about cross stitch. So this video is a little bit different. Normally I share new releases, which I'm actually going to show at the end of this video. So I will show new releases. I do giveaways on my YouTube channel. Next week I will have giveaway winners from the previous video where I talked about samplers. I've got Teresa Kogetland that I love, Shakespeare's Peddler, a part of Ann Dale. Check out that last video. It's all about samplers. I have talked about the sampler company, Brenda Keys. I showed a bunch of beautiful charts by that designer. She's one of my favorites. And so join me for the sampler video. It's a lot of fun. But my normal, usual floss tube videos are all about cross stitch, sometimes punch needle, and I enjoy showing you guys new releases and just sharing all the cross stitch news with you. So, but like I said, this one's a little different. I am going to show new releases at the end, but this is about me filling in my witch. As you can see, there she is, and I need to do all that white stitching. So for those of you that don't have anyone to stitch with, that you're on your own and you're sitting in your living room or your craft room, wherever you're at, I hope you grab something to drink. I hope you grab a project to work on, and I hope you'll stitch with me. I hope you enjoy this video. I am going to talk about some cross-stitch news, some questions that I've had along the way, different things that, you know, we'll talk about, just life issues maybe. I've got a few things going on here. As you guys know, my German Shepherd went through so much the last couple of weeks. He got very sick. So I'll share news and updates about that. But for now, we're gonna stitch together and have some fun. So I came upstairs, I brought my cross stitch, and I realized normally I use those little peels that a lot of the stitchers use. Sometimes quilters use it to hold the floss bobbin together. And I usually put them on a project where I don't have very much material because otherwise it just pops off. And this time I came upstairs, I got all set up, and I forgot my little holders for my fabric. So this is what mine looks like. My stitching, no matter what the size is, always looks like this. I always have my trusty green ugly hoop that I wouldn't trade for the world. I have had this hoop since I was 16 years old. So I cherish this hoop. I love it. Even Heaven and Earth, the giant Heaven and Earth, or Hades as you call them, that I use this hoop, this size hoop, and or this green hoop. So it's my favorite. I use it for everything. I do have a project I'm working on that I'm going to talk about in a few minutes that I think I'm going to change to a Q-snap because I have so much bulky material on the side of the hoop that it's actually uncomfortable to stitch on. And I think what I'm going to do is switch to a Q-snap and see if the fabric is a little bit better because it is a bigger space for me to work on. I think the fabric out of my way will help me. So I'm going to try a Q-snap. I've tried them before. They're okay. Again, this is what I use for everything. So I am going to try that and see if the material, the excess material on the side is better. Now that I think about it, I'm wondering when I'm going to hold the material. I have some clips. I'll try the Q-snap with some clips and see how I do. So in the meantime, I'm going to start stitching. I'm going to fill in the white and we will talk about cross stitch. I've got my glasses finally that I never bring with me when I do a floss tube, and I struggle to see. You guys know me. I struggle with that. So anyway, stitch with me. These are fun. I have really enjoyed seeing other people work on something, talk about cross stitch, talk about themselves. And like I say, you feel like you have a friend in the room with you while you're stitching and you're watching them on the TV screen or the computer screen. Normally I stitch with a magnifier along with my reading glasses. And right now, because it's so, I have it right here. I'll show you what it is. This is a Brightech. I got it off Amazon. It is a floor stand. It's very heavy on the bottom so it won't tip over. It has a cover. It has a magnifier. It has settings, 4 different light settings. So if I turn it on, I can turn the white part down. I can also turn the brown down. I love the brown. It's more of an auburn color. So I use this magnifier for everything. And sometimes you can just use it for the light. Sometimes you can use it for the magnifier and the light. So you put it here, and you know what? Maybe I will use it. It's a lot easier. So as you guys can see in the background, I changed my tree out. It's the fall tree. It's not fully decorated yet. I have some decorations I'd like to hang off of it. The decorations cross stitch wise are Halloween. So I'm not ready to put those up quite yet. Right now I have fall. I've got my white pumpkins. I've got, my shepherds are in here making noises if you hear some weird sounds. Anyway, I got some pumpkins out. I've got a scarecrow, and I think it's really pretty. I got tired of the patriotic tree, so I decided to make it a fall tree. I think it's pretty. And in a couple weeks, I'm going to go ahead and add the Halloween decorations to it, because Halloween is a huge event here in my track, and lots of neighbors have been going round and round on whether they're going to do trick-or-treating Halloween and, you know, this Halloween. My thinking is these poor kids have had to stay home. They've not had any kind of, you know, socializing in sports. They've had everything taken away from them, and they are so excited for Halloween. And my thinking is I'm going to wear gloves to pass out candy. So I'm not going to be touching the candy. That way the parents feel a little bit safer. I'm going to be wearing a mask. I always dress up for Halloween. I either wear a witch's hat or cat ears, or I'll paint a cat face. So we all love Halloween here in my track. Last year, Halloween was so crazy busy. We had about 1,300 kids trick-or-treating throughout the night. And we can tell how many kids we have by the amount of candy that we give out. We give out 1 piece of candy per kid, and that's how we can keep track of how many kids we've had. Now, it does sound like a lot. There are times when the cul-de-sac gets so crowded you can't even see the ground. Now, that's the part of the whole COVID thing that I know parents are probably going to be concerned about. But there is still ways to keep socially distant from a large, you know, a crowd like that. Everybody, I mean, it's not like people are shoulder to shoulder. They come in waves. And like I said, we give out the candy, we wear gloves, we're going to wear masks. So I just feel like these kids just need something. And, you know, everybody has their own opinion on whether we should have Halloween trick-or-treating or not here in the States. It's a big event here in the States, at least in, you know, where I live. It's just almost abnormal huge because there's so many kids. But like I said, and you're probably thinking, well, that's the COVID, you know, problem right there. But it isn't where they're, like I said, they're not shoulder to shoulder standing together. Everybody's usually separated with their family, and the families come, you know, up to you, get the candy and they leave. But like I said, most everybody stands apart. It's, at least last year, nobody really crowded, if that makes sense. And it works. I think it's going to work out really good. We're going to be there to offer the candy. Like I said, I dress up, and because we're going to play it safe with the gloves and the mask, I think the kids, hopefully, and our house is always decorated for Halloween. Our house, we put tons and tons of Halloween decorations outside. So for those parents that really don't want to risk it, going trick-or-treating with the kids, they can always drive by our track. Lots and lots of houses are decorated. It's really fun. It's really pretty. So that's another option, is that instead of actually going house to house and dealing with, people walking by you, you can always drive by and at least look at, the houses and the decorations and stuff. So that'd be a lot of fun. And if people want to stop by in their cars, I'll run out and give out candy to a car. It's just a great night. It's a lot of fun. So it's just questionable whether parents want to do it or not. It's up to them. But we'll be out there and we'll be geared up in our, masks and coverings and stuff. So I just feel like these kids, they just, some of them, a friend of mine, she has 2 boys and they're just so bored. They just can't play. They can't do their sports. They can't play their games. They can't, about the only thing they can do is stay inside and play video games. And I mean, you need more than that in life. I mean, come on. I love video games. Don't get me wrong. But so we'll see how it goes. We're starting to decorate. Our house downstairs is all decorated for fall. I have pumpkins all over. Outside I have some pumpkins and what are those things? A flag, those little flags that hang off of a little metal pole. It says welcome fall. I've got little characters on my door, my front door. So it's already starting to get festive and fall looking. It's so fun. So I'm excited about it. Let's see, let's talk about some questions that I've had from some viewers. Somebody asked me, where can I get the chart that you showed called Antrim's Folly? I'm going to show it here, a picture of it here. Antrim's Folly is actually what I worked on last night in our Zoom meetup. It is by Heart's Ease Exemplar Works by Teresa Baird. If you try and Google it and try and find it online, you're not going to find it. You have to order it from her. This is one of her teaching pieces. She would go and teach this to teach specialty stitches. I have not got to the specialty stitches yet. I'm working on the very, very bottom, that black border where it says Burlington County, New Jersey. It's all black and it has yellow or gold lettering. So that's what I'm working on right now. And you have to order the chart through her. She is wonderful. You send her an email. I will link her email address below. Again, her name is Teresa Baird. She's got other beautiful charts. I'm going to actually do a video of the charts that I have of her. Virginia is another one. Stop that. Monkey. Sorry. Virginia is another one. A Cumberland County, something, I can't remember. I'll show them in a video coming up, and it's just, her charts are gorgeous. So Antrim's Folly, you send her an email. If you need help in any of the charts, she's available. She will email you right back. I had a couple questions on the color gauge. There was an area, a large area that said fill. And I thought, okay, I'm going to fill this with a color, but it doesn't show what the color is. So what it is, I'll use this as an example. She wrote the word, like in here. We'll take this bottom part right here. You can see it's all outlined in black, and she wrote fill in the middle. Well, common sense would tell you, I mean, come on, you're gonna fill that with black because it's all black. It was such an easy instruction that I didn't get it. So I had to send her an email and I said, Teresa, I'm working on this and it says fill, but I don't know what color to fill it with. And she says, I'm sorry, I meant to make it as easy as possible, fill it with black, because that's what's surrounding it. She meant to say you just fill that whole area with that color. So I just had little questions like that. And she is so kind. She just really wants you to enjoy the chart, and any help that you need, she's right there for you. She'll write you back and tell you, what, she'll make it easy for you to understand. So I'll put her email down below in the description box if you're interested in any charts by Heart's Ease Exemplar Works. I have seen some charts. I believe it was kittenstitcher.com. She offered some charts by Heart's Ease Exemplar Works. But Antrim's Folly, I have not seen it from any shops. You actually have to order it through Teresa. And speaking of Kitten Stitcher, I believe she's on vacation. Well, she's not on vacation. She closed her online shop until the 13th, maybe, I think. She wanted to get caught up on paperwork, and I believe she said computer stuff. Maybe she'll do another floss tube, Kitten Stitcher. I enjoy her so much. She's so knowledgeable. She's so smart when it comes to samplers, and she's one of my favorite floss tubers, and I love her store. Her store is one of my favorites, kittenstitcher.com. It is a wonderful cross stitch store, and what I love about it the most is that she's not the type to show something on her website that's not in stock. I can't tell you how frustrating I've been with some of these stores that say they have something, it looks like they have it in stock, and they don't. I have ordered floss several times from different stores, and like I said, it shows it's in stock, it's ready to order, and then you get this message that says, oh, it's back ordered, we'll get a hold of you in 3 or 4 weeks. Well, had I known that, I would have shopped around, maybe looked on Etsy, maybe looked at other places. I mean, we're talking floss here. I'm not going to die if I don't get my floss. I don't know, maybe I will. But come on, I mean, I don't mind waiting. I order fabric directly from Picture This Plus, and I know when I order that fabric, it's going to take about 3 months to get it. So if you're interested in ordering from Picture This Plus, I think it's called Hanging Thread. Is it Hanging Thread? No, it's, yeah, Hanging Thread now. But anyway, just if you Google Picture This Plus and you order directly, now you could get Picture This Plus fabric from 123 Stitch. You can get it from all kinds of different places. So you don't have to order directly from them, and you can get your fabric a lot quicker. But when I do order from them, I don't mind waiting 3 months because they've told me, and I know that just order it and forget about it. When it arrives, it will. You can check and see if it's still, if the order is still pending or processing, I think it says online. So you can check your order from time to time, of course, but just know in your mind, if you order directly from Picture This Plus, it's going to take several months. And I don't mind that at all. But when I'm ordering something that I think is in stock and a website shows it is, and then it's not, that's a little frustrating sometimes for people. And one thing I noticed about Kitten Stitcher, I have never had a problem. I'm sure it could happen, where she says, hey, sorry, you want 10 skeins of Anchor 403, which I've gotten from her. I don't have that much in stock. I've never had it happen though. Usually the website will give you the option under how many to choose, like the quantity, how many flosses you need. And it only goes to a certain amount. And if you, like for instance, I was looking for an X-Jude design linen. Gosh, somebody told me on Zoom what color to look, Old Sheep? Is that X-Jude? Old something. And they said, oh, it would be a perfect color for a chart I was looking to start. And I went in there to purchase a piece of the linen, and it only let me, quantity-wise, it said if you order one, it's like a half. If you order 2, it's a fat half. If you order 4, it's a full yard. So it gives you the count, order this many, for this count or whatever. So I wanted a half. I wanted a fat half. So I went into her website and the quantity would only give me one, which means that's all she had. So I like that. I really like that she is honest about what she has in stock, and the computer doesn't let you order something that's not there, if that makes sense. So anyway, her website is kittenstitcher.com. She has a floss tube. She's wonderful, wonderful knowledge on samplers. She's absolutely one of my favorite shops. And her shop is open online. The online shop is open, but the checking out part, the checkout order part, is closed until the 13th. She's backed up on orders, and I just love her honesty. That's what I love the most, is that she sent out an email and said, hey, guys, I am backed up. You guys are more than welcome to put items in the shopping cart online, but you can't check out right now because I need to do paperwork. I need to catch up in the shop. I need to do computer stuff. And she's got a lot of stuff that she's, so it's almost like a vacation in a way, but it's not a vacation for her because she's working. She just needs to get caught up and stuff. So I really like her honesty about stuff. She could have easily said, I'm going on vacation for a week and, I'm shutting the shop down. But she didn't. She's just so honest about what goes on with her shop, and I love that about her. So I think it's until the 13th. You can still put things in your shopping cart, which I have. And you can order from her. And the other thing I like about her is items that you put in the shopping cart, they stay in there. They don't just disappear just because you've logged off. I like that. So when her shop opens, I can go back in, order the fabric that I wanted, or order the floss that I wanted, and it's all ready to go. I like that. I'm trying to think of some other questions people have asked me. People have asked, what is a good sampler that I should start with? My biggest thing is you have to pick something you like. If you pick a sampler because it's small and you don't, and I'm not really, it's not a really good example. Say you think, oh, there's a sampler, it's a small size. It's not my favorite, but I think I'll start it. I wouldn't do that. I would absolutely 100%, first of all, decide what kind of style do you like. In my previous videos, I've mentioned there are Quakers. You can have a sampler that's a Quaker type of motifs where you have all these motifs all over the design. You can go with a traditional sampler where you have a border, and it's a repeating border where you stitch the same thing all the way around the sampler, and then you have a picture or a scene inside that border. You could go with a Christmas sampler, a holiday sampler, Halloween. There's tons of choices. So the people that have asked me, I'm interested in samplers, but I don't know what to pick. What do you suggest? My biggest suggestion is find something you like, first of all. That's the most important thing. If you find a chart that you absolutely love and you think, gosh, I love the style of this. I love, you could take a Hands Across the Sea. I wish I had one laying here. I don't. You could take a Hands Across the Sea chart, like a traditional sampler with the repeating border, or you can look at one like Anne Grimshaw, 1818, totally, totally different. That's by the Scarlet Letter, and go from one style to another in a sampler. So my thing is, when you come across something that you really like, take a look at it, see if there's specialty stitches. I don't know if I would do my very first sampler with specialty stitches. I mean, that's a little hard for me. I just want to do X's. I just want to make X's. So, but I have seen some floss tubers mention that their first sampler had a ton of specialty stitches, a lot of back stitching. That's another thing. I don't care to do back stitching, so I don't mind a little bit, I'm doing one by Long Dog Sampler. That's another company to check out that is totally different. It's not your typical sampler, again, with the repetitive border, and it has a picture in the middle of it. They're not like that at all. They are different. They have different designs. They're beautiful. Just a totally different type of sampler. Check them out. Long Dog Sampler. Check out Hands Across the Sea. Scarlet Letter has some beautiful, gorgeous samplers in different styles. It just depends on what you like. Then find out, okay, what's in this? Are there a lot of backstitching, specialty stitches? Those, like I said, I might, speaking for me, I might have stayed away from that just so I could do a sampler with just X's, if that makes sense. To make it a little bit easier. Size to me on a sampler, if you really stop and think about it, size, if you pick this giant sampler, it isn't any different than picking a little one because you're still making X's. So you think, well, I don't really want a huge giant one. That's okay. Get a smaller one. But just keep in mind that if you do fall in love with a sampler that is giant and enormous, it's just 1X at a time. And then after a while, you start seeing this gorgeous picture develop and you start getting excited and you're thinking, well, it might be big, but this is pretty cool. You know, 1 stitch at a time, 1X, and it starts to make a picture. It's pretty cool. Someone asked me if I was going to be going to Dutch Mania in 2021. And the answer is yes, absolutely. I already have my classes paid for. I don't know if my husband has already made the hotel reservations. He might have. But I went to Dutch Mania last year in December, last 2019. It was amazing. There's a video, a FlossTube video I did. Go back a little bit and take a look. It's all Dutch Mania. I think I did 2 of them. If not 1, I did 2. It is in Germany. It's in the Netherlands. It's in, where else? Belgium. We just had the best time. I visited cross-stitch shops. I showed you guys. I took you along. So I recorded everything so you can see. It's a wonderful trip. So that was back in December and it's called Dutch Mania. It was a 1-day retreat with Twin Peak Primitives. It was fantastic. So someone asked me, did you plan on going to this year's? Yes, I did. And of course, with COVID, it was canceled. It is postponed till next year. And our classes are already paid for. This time, it's going to be a 2-day retreat. And this time my husband is going with me, but he's not going to the retreat, of course. Those 2 days that I'm stitching with the girls and having our, oh, I can't wait. Those 2 days he's going to golf. He's already found a golf course in Roden, the Netherlands, or just outside of Roden. He found a golf course. So he will be there for 2 days. I'm sure he'll meet new friends. It's going to be a ton of fun. We're going to get there early so we can adjust to the time change. We're going to go sightseeing. He's never been to the Netherlands. Now, I've been, gosh, 4 or 5 times to the Netherlands, and I just can't get enough. I love it so much. If there's a way that I could live there for like a year, I would, because it's one of my favorite places, along with Germany. I speak German, not very well. I do understand some German. I took German all through school, but I don't, it's funny, I grew up with a Dutch neighbor who taught me some Dutch, so I only know basic conversation Dutch, just like introductory stuff, please, thank you, how much is this? You know, just basic conversation Dutch. That's all I know. But the Netherlands has been a huge part of my life growing up because our neighbors who still live next door to my dad's house are from Rotterdam. They're from the Netherlands. And she was like my second mom. I loved her so much. I still do. and her name is Dory. And I spent lots and lots of time with her. So she always went to the Netherlands. She'd bring me back goodies. She'd bring me back tons of, I have wooden shoes from the Netherlands from back when I was a kid that she brought back. She'd bring me chocolate. She'd bring me canisters with designs on them. It was so much fun. I loved growing up with her. So the Netherlands, like I said, has been a huge part of my life since I was a little kid. So the answer, yes, I will be going back next year. The only thing that's going to stop me is if Monkey, my German Shepherd's health declines. It's the only thing that can keep me back. I will go for sure. I just don't know what his condition's going to be like next year. As you guys know, 3 weeks ago, we had to take him into emergency for emergency surgery. He had a mass on his spleen. Now, this is a completely healthy dog that just collapsed. And long story short, the mass was cancerous. They took it out, and he's doing awesome. He did have to go back to emergency last week. He was having some stomach trouble, and that was really hard. So tonight, he actually starts his first round of chemotherapy. Now, I have really gone back and forth on this, on whether or not to have him go through chemotherapy, because the mass was completely taken out. He is completely cancer-free right now. The liver, they did biopsies on, which is the other place that the masses like to host themselves on. And he's completely cancer-free. Nothing's there. So I really went back and forth with the oncologist on whether or not I wanted him to go through all of this. And the good news is that with Canine Oncology, they don't have the symptoms and they don't have the side effects that we do as people with chemotherapy. So knowing that, she told me that this type of cancer comes back aggressively, very aggressive, and she said it will come back. It's just a matter of when, and she was able to talk me into chemotherapy, keeping the cancer back and holding it back. It could hold it back for, instead of, they said if I didn't do chemotherapy on him, he wouldn't be around in 3 months. Because more than likely it's going to come back. It could be in the bloodstream. It could be, right now there's no signs. He's completely cancer-free. So like I said, I don't really want to do chemotherapy on him if he's cancer-free, but I see what they're saying. It's aggressive. It's in his system. It will come back. It will host itself someplace else. With chemotherapy, it will hold it back. It could be anywhere from a year. It could be 2 years. So I'm willing to go ahead and do the chemotherapy to try and get him and to stay with me longer. And if it's a year, I will be so happy. If it's 2 years, I'll be even happier. And it's just a terrible disease. It's horrible. And otherwise, if I don't do it, then the chances of him not being around in a couple months are very, very possible. So as long as he doesn't have the horrific side effects that we, that some of us get as people during chemotherapy, she says that they just don't. And I know that's true. My dad had a black Labrador. He developed cancer on his eye, if you can believe that. The cancer took over his eye. It was the size of, I would say, a racquetball. And it took over completely took over his eye. He lived and he played and he ran like the wind for at least another year or two. It was amazing. You would never know he was going through cancer treatment. He did so well. He went through chemotherapy. He had no side effects. He just did awesome. And if I hadn't seen him do so well, I'd really be questioning whether I put him through this. But my dad's dog did so well. There he was with, it finally did take over his eye. So the eye was gone and all you had was this giant mass. And there he was out there chasing that ball and running and playing back and forth across the yard during chemotherapy. And that was the happiest dog I've ever seen. So I'm really hoping Monkey takes to it he does just as well as my dad's dog did during his treatment. I'll keep you guys posted and let you know, but he does start tonight. And we'll see how it goes. As long as I can keep him. Right now he's laying here sleeping and he's eating on his own. He still has a feeding tube in his neck, but he's eating on his own. And we don't know if they're going to take the tube out or not. I don't want to have him take it out too soon, because if he does have some GI problems and can't eat, he's going to need the help of a feeding tube. But if he starts chemo and he does great and he's eating on his own and doing as well as he's doing right now, then we'll have the feeding tube removed. Let's see. You want to see some new releases while I stitch? How about some new releases that it came out? Hands Across the Sea just announced today they have 2 new releases. They are beautiful. I am still going to do a floss tube with Nicola Parkman. That's coming. She messaged me a couple of days ago, asked how I was feeling with my elbow surgery. And I said, if everything's going great, I feel a lot better. I have a lot more energy to do floss tubes. And so we are hoping to do a floss tube soon. On my regular floss tubes, as you guys know, it isn't just about samplers. I like to do separate YouTube videos on samplers for those that are interested. My regular YouTube videos are about everything. They're about Priscilla and Chelsea. They're about other floss tubers. They're about hands-on design. They're about all kinds of good cross-stitch news. So my floss tubes are about everything, everyone, every style. I'll show you everything I can, not just samplers. So my sampler videos, they are separate. I like to do them separate. So anyway, let's show some new releases. I do have a hands-on design. I've got all kinds of good stuff to show right now. So Hands Across the Sea, they talked about 2 new releases that came out today. They are beautiful. One of them is called Anne Boret 1646. Check this out. The date, I thought, no, 1600? I had to put my glasses on to look at the date because I thought I got it wrong. 1646. That is amazing to me. So that is Anne Boret, B-O-R-R-E-T-T, 1646. Nicola said, highly decorative and petite band sampler. It's beautiful. The other one by Hands Across the Sea is Eliza Johnson, 1828. It is so cute. I love the little ladies in their dresses, and I love the birds. I think it's beautiful. So those are the 2 new ones that came out today from Hands Across the Sea. There's another company that I discovered. They have a new Facebook group, and I believe they're new on Etsy, but I could be wrong. They could have been on Etsy for a while, but they do have a new Facebook group. It's called The Resting Eagle. They have a couple of designs that I wanted to show that are so cute. One of them is Witch on the Moon, and I'll show that here. Isn't that just different and cute? Witch on the Moon. They had another one, I don't know how to say this word, Quoth, Q-U-O-T-H, The Raven. They are on Etsy, The Resting Eagle. So check them out. And another one, let's see, some more new releases. From the Heart Needle Art. They are on Etsy, called Created from the Heart. Her name is Wendy. She is so nice. She also has a floss tube. She had a new release, I believe it was last week, and it was called The Grateful Quaker. Really pretty. And again, she's on Etsy as Created from the Heart. She has a blog. a floss tube. The floss tube is From the Heart Needle Art, and that's the name of the company. Did you guys hear that? That was Deuce. Couple more new releases. Jeanette Douglas gave us a sneak peek. Now, it has not come out yet. If you happen to be in my stitching group, Stitching 911, you got to see a sneak peek. If you're not, check out Instagram. Jeanette Douglas gave us a sneak peek of a Canadian patriotic sampler that she's working on. It's awesome. I love Canadian. I love stitching Canadian theme. I love all international. I love England. I love stitching the Union Jack. I love all things British, German, Dutch. I love stitching international. So this sneak peek, if you haven't seen it, check out Jeanette Douglas on Instagram. I haven't asked her if I can show that picture, so I'm not going to show it right now. Or you can join my stitching group. It is Stitching 911, and it's the number 911 on Facebook. But anyway, it's a cute Canadian sampler that's coming soon. Let's talk about some more new releases. Cottage Garden Samplings came out with 2 this week, and they are so cute. One of them is Christmas Sampler 2. Show that here. I'm getting some good progress on this witch. She's filling in pretty nice, and it's all white stitches. I'll show her at the end on how I did. Anyway, Cottage Garden Samplings. We've got the Christmas Sampler 2. We also have Halloween Sampler 2. In my next video, I'm going to try and find number 1 for each of those. But that was Halloween Sampler 2 that I just showed. Stitching with the Housewives, a new... I don't have the name of it. I forgot to look at it, but I'm going to show the new release here. Isn't that pretty? Those colors are just beautiful. Priscilla is the nicest person. I really like her. Well, both of them, Chelsea and Priscilla, are just wonderful people. Wonderful family people. The next one I want to show is Hands On Design. 3 of them came out, and they're all flamingos. That's what I love, is there's something for everybody. So many different styles. And we've got Fa La La Mingo, Flamingo Bells, and Flamingo All the Way. Isn't that cute? So the next one I want to show is by Shannon Christine, Trick or Treat Sampler, which I love, and she said that she loved designing it because it's got the little dinosaurs, I think they're dinosaurs at the bottom. How cute is that? The other one, I don't know the name of it. October 31st. I'm not sure, exactly what the name, but if you go on her website, I believe it's shannonchristine.com, or Google it and see. She had those 2 new releases come out this week. The last one I'm going to show is a new designer called Waltzed Iris Naps. A wonderful company with some beautiful samplers that they have reproduced. They had a new release this week called Bethia Fenshaw 1861. And I'll show that here. Isn't that pretty? So that's what I have for new releases. I thought that would be, while I'm sitting here stitching, I figured that would be something for you guys to take a look at and we could talk about. Looking to see if there were any other questions. Oh, someone had a good question, and she was so nice about it. She says, I don't mean to be rude at all. She said, but you have so many whips and samplers, large samplers going on. How do you expect to ever finish it, in this lifetime? How do you ever think that you're going to finish all of these? So I was telling her, I answered her, and I said, that's a really good question. I do have lots of whips going on, but what I do is I like to rotate them. So like, this is obviously not a sampler. I'm working on a witch, and it's a picture of a witch next to a light post and 2 light posts. So she asked, how do you think you're going to finish all of this? And it's a really good question. I like to rotate my whips, works in progress. I like to rotate them. I like to work on different things with different colors, different styles. I might go from one traditional looking sampler to a Quaker. I might go from one day stitching on Quaker motifs to holiday samplers. I might decide, you know what? I don't want to work on a sampler at all. I'm going to work on my witch. I'm going to work on a Mill Hill kit. So I have all kinds of different styles. And that's what I love, is the variety of everything, the different colors, the different designs. Now, what I'm thinking is this. If I see a sampler that I'd love to stitch, I'm going to stitch on it and I'm going to keep working on it, and I might rotate it with another project. And if I die tomorrow, or if, as I told her, if I kick off tomorrow, at least I had the joy of stitching on it. At least I got to see it start to develop. And maybe someone else can finish it for me. My husband knows to call Jean. She knows what to do. My good friend Jean, she knows what to do with my stuff, whether keep it or get rid of it or give it to someone maybe that would love to finish stitching on it. My husband would help. Maybe he could do a floss tube with giveaways and say, my wife started this sampler. Does anybody want it? It's fully kitted. Who wants to finish it for her? What a great idea. So anyway, but I have talked to my husband about it. I said, if I kick off tomorrow, which I don't have any plans to, so don't worry. My thinking, though, is that at least I got to stitch on it for a little bit. Maybe I'll finish it. Look at this one. I worked on that for several months, and I didn't know if I'd finish that. It's big. Look at all that black. That band of black is about this big, and it's all solid with those. It's almost like a little mini full coverage. That's a lot of stitching right there. So if I can finish that in a couple months, I think I started it January 1st of this year. My thinking is that I can finish other stuff. There's no doubt I'm going to finish other things. But in the meantime, I get to work on other stuff too and see it develop and work with those beautiful colors and watch the motifs appear. And it makes me so happy. So I may or may not finish them all, but I sure had a heck of a lot of fun working on them while I was alive. So, okay, I'm going to show you guys my progress on the White Witch. Thank you for stitching with me. This video is getting a little bit long, so let's go ahead and sign off. Next week, I will bring to you another floss tube with giveaway winners from the sampler video, the 2 giveaways that I had. And next week, we'll have more new releases. We'll have some cross-stitch news updates. I'll show you all my sampler September progress. Tell you about some things, fun things going on in our group. Again, my group is called Stitching 911 with the numbers on Facebook. Join us. You're more than welcome. Everyone's welcome. We even have some quilters in there. We've got some people that crochet. We love seeing all your progress on everything. So you're more than welcome to join. I'm on Instagram as 911 Stitcher. It's all spelled out in letters. And thank you for joining me with the stitch along today. So this is my progress. So that's the chart. You can see the light poles that I need to start working on a little bit better. And my progress so far, this is on Mermaid Bay 30 count by the Primitive Hare. Here's my progress so far. She only has 1 foot, I just realized. So she has 1 foot. But anyway, I'm almost done with her. All I have to do is start on the other light pole here. And that's it. So I'm excited, yay. That's a true color of the fabric too. That's with the white stitching, you can really get a good idea of what color this is. Mermaid Bay by the Primitive Hare, 30 count. I can't wait to finish this because I'm starting A Christmas Carol by the Primitive Hare next. I think that's all we have, you guys. So I'll get you some updates next week, a new floss tube, and we'll see you then. Thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this stitch with me, and have a good weekend coming up. Happy stitching, everybody.